Hello, and welcome to Why I Love Warhammer with Pyro the Cat and myself, where I'm going to go into a bit of an unscripted ramble into why I love something in this hobby. And today's episode is the Ynnari. And if you want the short version of this video, this is Yvraine. She has a cat. I have a cat. Therefore, I love Yvraine. Therefore, I love the Ynnari. And Pyro loves the Ynnari too. Yes, he does. So, okay. It's a bit deeper than just they have an animal that happens to resemble an animal that I have in my house that I look after. It's also that at a very personal level, I always like it when the animal companion doesn't have its own stat line. And that's because I don't want the pet to get killed in a game of 40k. So when Yvraine here doesn't have a stat line for her animal, it means that the animal never passes away. From a lore perspective, moving away from the fact that she has a pet, I am also a huge fan of her linking the Aeldari and the Imperium through Guilliman. I think that is a positive step in the storyline for both factions, and I like the more things that can ally up in a sense, the more the universe has to unite, the more grimdark it feels to me, because these all these people having to unite together, it means that something's probably going wrong for everyone else. I also like what they represent for the Eldar, because they are uniting them together in game play terms. You can have Aeldari with a bit of Drukhari and a few Harlequins together because they're uniting everyone under Yncarne. And I like that the different members of the Triumvirate of Yncarne, as the set used to be called, can be viewed as a representative from different from the different bits. So this is Yvraine. I like the fan. She's got the cool Aeldari sword, and I always like the soul stones that are there. Bit weird that she's barefoot, but that kind of adds to that mysterious element to her. Okay, the Visarch. This guy has kind of Dark Eldar Drukhari vibes to me. I just think he looks cool. He's standing there all stoic in his armor. He's got that sword, and I love the way that they do power swords. I think they're so well painted, and it makes them seem so mysterious and just wonderful. And it's got these masks here that give me slight Harlequin vibes as well. Again, more that sense of unity between the Aeldari factions. And the cat has once again returned to the desk. Hey, Pyro. I actually have two cats. This one's the social one. Do you want to see the Yncarne? Yes, you do. Here's the Yncarne. Just messed up. I love this kind of. It's got the kind of demonic horn here. It's got the other mask here. The hair flowing down that bleeds into this warp energy. It's floating, and the model itself is big. This is not a small model that it's got going on here. It's a very large centerpiece thing that I think just works really well within your army. If you want to run Ynnari, then this is such a brilliant centerpiece to have alongside a bunch of other very infantry scale models. Okay, Jane Czar of the Howling Banshees. Strictly speaking, that was it for the Ynnari range. Everything else was Aeldari first before the Ynnari were a thing. So I'm going to go through some Ynnari-like units that kind of typically go with Ynnari lists. So this is Jane Czar, a named character from the Howling Banshees. I just like these. The cat likes to return. So I think that they're just really cool with the way they're posed. I think that I like the colouring here. I enjoy the weaponry. And again, the hair makes this one feel far more like it's kind of floating and jumping around. It gives us that far better illusion of flight that I think is just really nice and useful to have in models when they're trying to move away from flying bases. Come on, Pyro, everyone can see that you're fat. He is a fat cat and he is on a diet. Okay, Howling Banshees again, I just think they're cool looking. I like this kind of hybridization of the Janezar armor with the more classic Aeldari armor. I like the melee focus, even though they do have guns that I think work well. Yeah, they're just really cool. And with these guys, I do get the feeling that they're meant to be just jumping off of terrain rather than trying to give some kind of illusion of flight. So that works. These kinds of bases work in their favor in that regard, I think. Okay, these vehicles, again, in my Harlequins army, I have my Skyweavers. These are just non-Harlequin Skyweavers to me. And they look cool. They've got the classic flying bases, which I always like. They are really sleek in their design. Like it feels futuristic to me. It feels when something is very sleek in design, and these guys epitomize that. I also love that these lances look like the lances of like medieval jousters, so that really feels it kind of has that kind of regal aesthetic to it as well. I think this works really well. It makes these guys seem like kind of mounted jousters, mounted nobility. Okay, Striking Scorpions. These Striking Scorpions or Dark Reapers? I'm going to call them Striking Scorpions. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments section. I like these kind of skull-like designs on the faceplates. Even if they can look a little bit derpy at times, like it's kind of going the whole time, I still think that looks cool. The guns look cool to me. I always like those, like a very large two-handed weapon on my miniatures. It makes the gun feel cumbersome and powerful. And then when you got this leader-looking guy who's just holding it in one hand and kind of with a slightly bragging pose, it adds something to it for me. And this token, I don't really know what that does in game, but the fact that it's there, it looks cool to me. So I'm in favour of them. I think these guys are actually the Striking Scorpions. I'm recording this on the 13th of November, and there are rumours at the time of recording of these guys getting a new sculpt. I hope it still captures how cool these guys look. They've got the classic Eldar helmets, but there's something about them that feels like they're like commandos on a mission that in the posing, and I really hope that can remain. I also like how these guns are all done in golds rather than just like being black or rather than just like slightly less metallic colors. I just think that adds something special to them, makes them look really cool. I also like how these guys are also using the chain. Their swords are chain swords, which isn't something you normally get with Aeldari models. It's more of an Imperial thing to have chain swords. Dire Avengers, at least I think so. But again, classic old sculpts that I think these guys have aged better than a lot of other old sculpts. I think they look good, they're purposeful, and they're characterful. They feel like kind of frontline elite troops that I think it just works well in their favour. And again, they've got the classic Eldar helmets that I think look good. And yeah, they're just a good unit. There's not that much more you can say with it other than they're good looking. Okay. The Wraith Guard, Wraith Knights, the Wraith models of the Aeldari range. I love these guys for kind of the breakdown of the colours. They're kind of three primary colours: red, black, white. And you really... And when it's that simple and that bold in its separation, to me, it really makes those colour schemes pop. And I love what these guys are in the lore, that the soul of a previously slain Eldar is contained within the construct. Otherwise, its soul goes to She Who Thirsts, which when you're working with Yncarne, who is there saying, "No, I've got the solution here. We don't. Our souls can stop going to She Who Thirsts Slaanesh." It's almost like this kind of tragic irony that this is a model, this is a unit, this is a soul, an entity who's fighting to their last because they know what's going to happen if they lose that one more life. I think it's just a really cool model. I love what these guys, like I said, I love the souls mechanic in the lore of Warhammer 40,000, that they take the souls of an Aeldari and they put them into these constructs. They've got the soul stones that they're trying to preserve all these souls, and the Inyad's promising them salvation from She Who Thirsts. Okay, Corsairs. Again, I'm a sucker for pirates, and I think these guys look cool. I don't think they are quite as piratey as many others thought. Maybe if this bird were a parrot, I'd be viewing them as more piratey. But they're cool, they're unique, they are... they've got a good array of weapons. This Psyker here, this guy here's got the staff that kind of adds a bit of gravitas. This guy with different hair, he's got his tactical rock, clearly the leader of them. It's just a really cool unit that I think just deserves a lot of respect. And the photo from this angle makes it look like this guy's only got one arm, but he's almost certainly just kind of posing with one of those guns aiming it forth. And again, I love Harlequins. I think that they are just a really cool unit, a cool faction that should still be their own faction in my opinion. But being able to ally in some Harlequins into your Ynnari feels not good to me. Kind of a bit more of an alliance around them that I think just works really well. And I think Harlequins look cool at the best of times, so adds them in. And between the Harlequins, having a thing with the Laughing God who's trying to defeat Slaanesh, and the Ynnari who are trying to thwart Slaanesh, it does make sense to have the two together. And the Kabalite Warriors and the Drukhari, it's nice to be able to bring them as well. I think the Drukhari, the Dark Elder, they're underrated as a force, and the classic Kabalite Warriors is just a nice thing to bring in with them. And again, more Drukhari Scourges. I think these winged ones look really cool, and yeah, they deserve a place. And yeah, and then again, the Drukhari Ravager. Again, having this thing into your Ynnari force, I think just adds something to it, makes it look really good. And yeah, it's just so brilliant that you can ally all this stuff together that it makes sense from a gameplay and lore perspective to ally units together for your Ynnari. And then end it with the old Webway Gate, the classic model that works in all 4 Aeldari forces, from Aeldari, Ynnari, Drukhari, and Harlequins. And with this being this unifying model that all 4 Aeldari things can use, to have this for the Ynnari just feels right, that it is the great unifying Webway Gate. And again, this thing's tall, it's 13 inches tall. If I have it, if I put it here, it would go off camera. That's how big this thing is. A Wraith Knight can stand in the middle comfortably. But yeah, I think that's to summarise why I love the Ynnari. I love what they represent lore-wise. I love mechanically and lore-wise that they can bring in allies from other Aeldari races. And I love that Yvraine has a cat, and the cat can't be slain. And with that, thank you very much. I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you next time.